This is section 2.7, part 1 of your class lesson, and this is linear and absolute value inequalities. And this part 1 is going to be your linear inequalities. So let's go ahead and begin. We will first subtract 5 from both sides. So we have negative 3x is greater than negative 12. We didn't need to change the sign. We can add and subtract without reversing the inequality. However, right now to solve this, we are planning on dividing both sides by negative 3. So when we do that, we have to reverse the sign since we divided by a negative. So negative 12 divided by negative 3 is a positive 4. So x is less than 4 is our solution set. So we'll put 4 here, and we want everything less than 4, but we don't want to include 4. And interval notation is negative infinity going all the way to 4, using parentheses, of course, on both. Let's go to number 2. The first thing that we can do is subtract 2x from both sides. I'll go ahead and write it on these. Some of these have quite a bit here. So subtract 2x. And then, of course, we have 4 minus 5x is less than or equal to 7. And then we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. And we end up with negative 5x is less than or equal to less than or equal to 3. And now we're going to divide both sides by negative 5. And we finally arrive at x is greater than or equal to a negative 3/5. And we did have to reverse that sign because we divided by a negative. So our number line would have a solid point at negative 3/5, and we want everything greater. And then that would be 3/5 to infinity. And we do want to use the bracket because we want to include 3/5. Okay, let's go look at number 3. And in number 3, we're going to first subtract 5 from all parts. And that leaves us with negative 7 is less than 3x is less than 15. Now we're going to divide every part by 3. We do not have to reverse the sign because we did not divide it by a negative. So we have negative 7/3 is less than x is less than 5. Our number line will put a negative 7/3 and a 5. And we want everything in between, but we don't want either of those points. So that's in interval notation. That's negative 7/3 going all the way to 5 using parentheses. In number 4, the first thing we want to do is subtract 5 from all 3 parts. And we end up with a negative 2 is less than 7x is less than 36. Okay. Oh, let's see, minus 5, yes. And then we'll go ahead and divide all parts by 7. And we end up with a negative 2/7 is less than x is less than 36 over 7. And I think this should be less than or equal. There we go. So now we have the number line, and we have an open circle at negative 2/7, but we have a closed circle at 36/7, and we want everything in between. Interval notation will be negative 2/7 to 36/7, but we do need a bracket for 36/7. And the last question, this should be a 5. The last question talks about revenue and costs of a certain product, and they're given by R equals 4x. and the cost function is 2x plus 1,000. And x is the number of units produced and sold, and they want to know what production level will the revenue at least, so the at least is important, cover the cost of the production. So basically we want where is the revenue greater than or equal to the cost. So we'll just substitute 4x for R and 2x plus 1,000 for the cost. We will now we will now subtract 2x, and we will have 2x is greater than or equal to 1,000. We'll divide both sides by 2, and we have x is greater than or equal to 500. Therefore, when 500 units are produced and sold, that is when the revenue will at least cover the cost of production. So at 500 we cover it. If we go greater, then that's when we start producing or having a profit. And that concludes your class lesson.